your brand and make yourself look better, the question rises. Why did he tell Roger that he lent Michael $400 to get through a hard time? Why did he do that? You know, you have to start asking questions. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bullshitting right now. Connect Four's Boston Celtics crazy ass and dumber than Debbie Daly. Rajon Rondo. I know Rondo's a basketball player, but I don't know much about him. Don't just stick Jeb in there, for Christ's sakes. Who do you want? Who do you guys want in the White House next? Don Lemon is a fucking idiot. I used to like him when he first came on CNN. I was like, oh, this is a nice change of pace. And then I saw him talking about automatic weapons. I mean, have you seen that? He literally gets in an interview talking about weapons and goes, it's easy to get an automatic weapon. I could go down and buy an automatic weapon today. And the guy he's interviewing goes, Don, can you define automatic weapon? And you know what Don says? He says, to me, and right then, I said, no. This isn't art. This isn't about feelings. Automatic weapon has a very mathematical and scientific definition that is clear and concise, Don. So to me, automatically tells me you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So yes, he confused automatic with semi-automatic, but if you're going to be a news anchor on a major news platform, you need to know the fucking difference before you start talking about it. And it wasn't just that with Don Lemon. There's been a few things with him. Got to be bright, man. You need bright people doing anchor jobs. Who you guys think are some of the brightest on TV right now, as far as news anchors or having their own shows? I think Jon Stewart's pretty bright, but I think he's got some holes in his education. George Stephanopoulos, I think he's got his shit completely together. See, once you learn enough to be completely brilliant in these areas, I think a part of you dies. Have you ever felt like you know too much, folks? Honestly, the joy starts to seep out of life when you start to understand human motivation. Obama is upset about the term Obamacare. He prefers affordable health care. Guy, do you remember about 2 years ago, though? He used to go on these speaking trips, and he'd say, they're calling it Obamacare. That's good. That's great. Put my name all over it. That's what he was saying. Who's the hot Greek chick on Faux News? Oh, Kelly. I believe her name is Kelly Barco. And if you have a small nose, decent looking eyes, great hair, and inflated lips, you've got an anchor spot on Fox. We're done. They have no test. She's got it. She's in. And she has made some incredibly idiotic statements. I mean, she's competing with Don Lemon on the intelligence angle. But Obama isn't affordable. Crash Jesus is in the house. Look at that. All right, so you guys that hate Obamacare, I hear that you hate it. What's the solution? Let's hear what you got. If you could pass legislation today to fix the American healthcare system, what would you do? Maybe Kelly is just her stage name, Barco, and she's probably like a dancer at a high-class hooker club, and they just call her Kelly Kell. And so she kind of brought that over to Fox as a sort of ported it, you know. CNN Late Night is in competition with Jackass. Andrea Tantoros. I don't know who that is. Ain't no Greek blondes with small noses named Kelly. The average Dutch citizen pays around €100 a month and get like 70 back because I'm poor. Well, that would be me too, Artie. I got some good news today, guys. I got a card in the mail. And this card goes out to disabled veterans who live more than 40 miles away from a primary VA healthcare center, and this card can be used to get local health care, but you have to go to an office/doctor that is approved. So in that way, it's very HMO-like, which is fine with me, because the goddamn trip was killing me. And it wasn't even so much about the trip. It was about the culture. The culture at the VA is, if you tell this veteran there's something wrong, if you admit it, the chances of them filing a claim that the VA will then have to pay for on a regular disability payout rises, of course. So what you want to do is make that veteran believe they have as few health issues as possible. That's a culture. That's a culture that's bred into them. I mean, it makes perfect sense if you think about it. Well, now that they're going to let us use private doctors, there's a decent chance that we will get fair and accurate assessments of our health. And that will then still turn around to hurt the VA, but the whole reason it even happened was the shit that broke about a year ago. You know about it. It happens every 10 years with the VA. They find out everybody's getting fucked, and then they do something, and there's about 2 months of media and maybe a change in policy, and then it gets swept back under the rug. Well, this time, our little gold nugget was the local care card for vets that live further than 40 miles from a major treatment facility. God bless the goddamn United States of America, because now I have a chance to get some decent health care. If I weren't as sick as I am right now, I'd be doing little hummingbird flappy flights around, little happy, like, Fairly Odd Parents. But I can't do that, so I'm just going to contain my happiness, but share it with you verbally. So there's that. I say we round up and shoot all smokers. Barco, please do, because you'll put me out of my misery if you do that. Yeah, shoot me in the fucking head. Guy says, I know it sounds commie-like, but government-free healthcare is the best solution in my own. Works in Norway and other nations without the drop in quality care. I think so too, Guy. I think in this country, as rich as we are, we've got to be able to take care of our citizens. We can't have fucking people dying in the alley. Now, I wouldn't mind modeling it after Japan or something like that for those hardcore right-wingers who say people need to pay for their insurance. I think in Japan, the people pay 20% of all costs and the government pays 80%, and it works out very well. But, we can do this. We can. The whole thing is, the medical industry is a hungry industry. It loves money. But they also had to jack up a lot of their prices on everything because of all the motherfuckers using the ER for a doctor and not paying their bill. Those costs just don't disappear. They get spread across other areas. They got to be made up somewhere. So we had to do something. If everyone stopped smoking today, all countries would be bankrupt. Good point. Tobacco is quite the moneymaker. And government taxes on it are nothing to laugh at either. There's a shitload of people abusing benefits in Holland. I don't want to do that. All right, tell me this, RD. Are there fraud lines there? Can you turn them in? And if you do, is there incentive for that? Can they go to jail? Or do they just kick them off the program? Because I don't like the idea of people getting away with fraud. I think that shit needs to stop. We need a heavy-duty oversight thing for anybody on welfare or getting aid to make sure they truly are disabled or that they truly are in need of this, and then stop fucking with them. Once you've established, look, they're legit, stop fucking with them. We make them feel like shit in this country. You're on welfare, you're a welfare queen. I'm just saying, judge each person individually. I hate seeing this grouping because it's just, in my opinion, it's narrow-minded. You gotta look at each person individually. And these stupid arguments I see, well, there are more white people on welfare than black. Yeah, because the United States is 80% white, 14% black. There's gonna be more. The question is per capita. Bill O'Reilly's show came on. He said something like, well, in the past 3 years, 314 white people have been killed by white police and 111 blacks have. Okay, Bill. Yep, you made your point. but only to idiots, because I take you back to the percentage, and now we look at per capita, and you see there is a lopsided view against blacks. The question then becomes, is it mostly because of racist cops, or is it mostly because blacks are more likely to wield a murderous weapon and have to be shot? I think it's a mix. It's a matter of what that mix is. You know, there's racism in this country, folks. We can deny it all day long, but like Jon Stewart says, imagine what it's like to live it all day long. Now, you know, I've got some close black friends that just are very frank with me. And they'll tell me, you know, I didn't see anything today. I got a friend, Sean. You know, the other day I had this guy look at me and he was going to ask me a question, but I could see him decide, well, that's a black guy. I better go ask a white guy. He'll know the answer. That kind of shit. We got to get past that. You're no better than any other color, folks. I know you want to believe you are if you're white, but you're not. In fact, I know plenty of black people that are more classy and educated than some white people I know. That's just the way it is. Individuals are individuals. Treat them as such. And if you want to hate on blacks, the next time you're broken down on the side of the road, a black dude stops to help you, don't conveniently forget that shit. And the same token, if a black dude stops to rob you, that's one black dude. It's not all of them, okay? So... point is, welfare fraud is minuscule in terms of cost. You're right, Barco. And I also think drug testing is a waste. They tried it in Florida. They found out that 8% of the general public used illicit drugs. 3% of the ones they tested on welfare were using illicit drugs. They spent more money on the testing than they did by kicking those people off of welfare for using the drugs. These people are down and out. They're not getting a lot of money. If you catch them committing fraud, I say throw them in fucking prison. Let them feel that sting. But if they're not, let's not kick them in the nuts so hard. You know, I've seen a lot of these people that are on welfare. And like I've said before on this show, I used to work with a rent-to-own company, so I was able to like get in their homes and see what was going on. It wasn't my intention. It's just how the job worked. And I used to think, man, I'll bet these people are living on welfare, living the high life. They don't have to do anything. It's not like that, man. That's not what I saw. Not what I saw. Not in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, or Portsmouth, Virginia. What I saw was dread in the faces of the children and the faces of the men that weren't able to work or weren't working at the time. They hated themselves. It was just this look of shame at all times. We can argue about whether or not they can pull themselves out of that. I think in general, yes, anybody should be able to pull themselves out of it, barring a serious disability or psychological condition. But if you won't take the time to try to empathize with someone, then I can't respect your opinion about what they're doing wrong. All I ask is you imagine being them for a couple of minutes, their whole past, their whole education, their whole upbringing, their whole culture, what their parents have told them, what their friends have told them, what they think is true. And then ask, how would I live? And then once you start to get an understanding like that, then I can start respecting your judgments about what they're doing wrong. But nobody wants to do that. Guy says, I'm okay with people trying to advance themselves, even if they need a boost, but accepting failure is not acceptable. Yeah, I think people give up sometimes, Guy. And except for the people that have genuine clinical depression, which is a killer, I'm with you. They've got to do so. You've got to fix it. You've got to figure out a way. I don't care if you got to dig ditches. You got to do something. But I'm with you on that. But I also... I have a lot of friends who think still that psychology is not a science, and that these psychological conditions are not debilitating. And look, even the VA gives PTSD vets 100% disability, which is now up to like $2,500 a month tax-free, because they have bad dreams, essentially, and panic attacks. And so if the VA will give you that, you can bet pretty much that it's real. So severe depression, psychological disorders, schizophrenia, dissociative disorders, combined with physical health disorders, you can get some real interesting combinations that make people essentially unemployable. Unemployable is the word. They might hold a job for 3 or 4 days. They might hold a job for 3 or 4 weeks, but they can't keep it up.